okay, sharing option.
हाँ
Yeah.
मैं okay मैं बता देता हूँ. Now we are live actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Hmm.
Just to test, is my screen visible? Okay.
Yes, yes.
I'll just
And
stop sharing now. I'll share once we start.
okay, but no,
Yeah.
yes,
We can actually keep the screen on.
no
Okay.
problem. If you want, yes, no problem. So welcome everyone for Bioingene International Seminar Webinar Series. This is our 73 webinar, and we are very happy that when we start Bioengine, our aim was to just connecting people. Those are the plant science background, but we also focus on soft skill development and also that IPR related issues because we are researcher and protecting our research is very important. Sometimes we require it in for upscaling of our research. So I think this is our third or fourth webinar on IPL, but this time you all get a different aspect of IPL. I recently heard Dr. Silpa Sahu in a seminar, and I'm very happy about her knowledge and covering the this IPL and patent, copyright, everything. So that day I directly invite him, that invite her, because please come and give a lecture on bioengine. So I think everybody loves this talk, but is it international seminar? So I'm understand many people from others countries also watching. Sometimes the law is little bit different, but the essence or the intention of the lawmakers are quite same. Maybe the duration, maybe the fees, these are the differences, but all countries are try to protect their property and their intellectual properties specifically. So maybe country wise it's going to be different, but don't worry, ma'am has very good knowledge on others countries too. If you need anything, personally contact ma'am directly. Their website is available, and we will put all the information related to connections, LinkedIn profile, website, and others in our Bioengine website after the webinar. Please be patient. Don't hurry about the certificate. It will get it if you already registered for the webinar and submit after webinar. If you have going to submit your form, that is feedback form, you definitely got a certificate. But it will take some time because I need some time to prepare the certificate and distribute. So Soma, please introduce Bioengine, little bit about the certificate process, and then introduce Dr. Lipika Sahu. And ma'am, then you please start your talk. I am always here. Maybe the video off, but I'm here. Okay.
Yes. Welcome to Bioengine webinars. Bioengine is a non-profit organization created to promote plant science research worldwide. This is an open platform from which plant scientists can present the current advancements of their research to the world. We hope future scientists can gain perspective, inspiration, hearing the esteemed plant researchers talk about their scientific accomplishments and views on building the future of plant sciences. We are thankful to the speakers and viewers of our Bioengine family for your interest in the webinar series and for your appreciation of our efforts. You can register for Bioengine webinars through our website, bioengine.com, or our social media pages. You are live viewing this webinar and you can watch it again later on the Bioengine YouTube channel. So please remember to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of our events. After attending today's talk, you can apply for a certificate of participation via the feedback link, which will be provided in the YouTube chat after the presentation. Please type in your questions related to today's talk in the YouTube chat box for the Q&A session. The topic for today's webinar is Patents, Protection and Progress, the Role of IPR in Science. Our guest speaker today is Dr. Lipika Sahoo, founder and CEO, Lifeintelect Consultancy. Dr. Lipika is a registered Indian patent and trademark attorney with 24 years of experience in academia and industry in the areas of technology, innovation, and intellectual property rights. A PhD from Indian Institute of Science in microbiology and cell biology, and she holds triple masters. MSc from Sambalpur University, Odisha, PG IPR from National Law School of India University, Bangalore, PGCBM from Xavier Institute of Management, Bhubaneswar, and advanced certifications from World Intellectual Property Organization. An alumna of Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. Passionate about technology and innovation, helping technologists, scientists, business owners, and deep tech companies protect their ideas by enabling generation of valuable intellectual property, be it an invention, a design, a product, an idea, or business processes. Associated as a reviewer, an expert, and a mentor with many well known startup ecosystems and innovation programs. Her specialties include intellectual property rights, research, innovation, technology transfer, drug discovery and development, product development, technology mapping, IP valuation, licensing, strategic IP, business process optimization, startup strategies, branding, mentoring, strategic management, and consultancy. Welcome, Dr. Lipika, to Bioingene. It is certainly a pleasure for us and our viewers to learn from you today. The
Yeah.
Bioingene platform is all yours now.
Thank you, Madam Soma, and thank you, Dr. Majumdar. And thanks to Bioingene for this opportunity to talk to your audience today. And the topic is something very interesting. I'm sure many of the researchers and scientists, it'll be an interesting topic for all of them. So let me share my screen first. Is it visible to all of you?
Yes, it is visible. And Zoom, yes.
Okay. Okay. So today we are going to talk about patents, protection, and progress, and the role of IPR in science. So what we will do, I'll do is we'll talk about basics of intellectual property rights. Then we will dive a little more deeper into patents and the strategies how you can protect your patents in one country or multiple country. And what is the role of IPR in science? So I'll just start with very basic questions like what do you understand by intellectual property rights? So typically when we say intellectual property rights, it is a creation of mind, like anything you can think, anything you can create in your mind. So be it it's a product or a process or a design or a painting or a book concept that you are writing. So anything that you can think about and create with your creativity, you can protect protect this through multiple different arms of intellectual property right. Why intellectual property right is important, and how does it links to innovation? Suppose you see the number of patents that has been filed across the world, 3.5 million in different patent offices of the world, which is steadily increasing year after year. Now, another important thing is when we think about patent, we think about it's a complex research project. You do a lot of research, multiple years of research, then you come out with some idea that can be protected through some patents or some other type of intellectual property rights. So let us see some example. So this is a hypodermic bunny. It's a immunizing small children. It's a syringe patented in 1967. It was used to immunize small children, and it was a very useful and hit at that time. It's a simple syringe. Only thing, it is designed to look like a bunny. Though it was so simple, but it was useful and it has a very big name at the time of when it is patented and it was used. Now, crayon holder, it was patented in 2002 by 10 years old kid. The small child, when we use crayon, when it becomes small, we used to throw the crayons. So this kid came up with the idea of a crayon holder where you can use the crayon even if it is small. Simple idea, but useful, and it's patentable idea. This is one of the uh, apparatus for facilitating walking for uh, uh, people having difficulty in walking. So this is patented long back in 1890s. So it is a complex system and patented. So another one, it looks quite interesting. Maybe you think it is uh, simple, but it's useful. It's called banana suitcase, patented in 2003. Uh, when you export banana from one place to other or one country to other, it gets damaged. But using this banana suitcase, that was a lot of help for the farmers. So these are different variety of idea, and by different kinds of people from 10 years old to different age old, with a lot of research, with simple ideas. You can see the patent can be from a simple idea to a complex idea. As long as it is useful, it's new, it has some sort of innovation, you can protect these ideas. Now let us talk about what are the different types of intellectual property rights. Um, there are multiple arms of intellectual property rights because when we have idea, it could be product, process, design, methods, uh, painting, letter, plant varieties, so many different kinds of ideas that we have. How do we protect these different kinds of ideas? Through different arms of intellectual property rights. So first is patent. We'll talk about some of these different types little later. Copyrights, trademarks, trade secrets, industrial design, geographical indications, plant varieties, traditional knowledge, integrated circuits, biodiversity. So these are typically all the important aspects of the intellectual property right, which how it helps you to protect your ideas. So let's talk about patents. The patents are one of the strongest forms of intellectual property rights. And what are the subject matter of patent? Uh, in India, it is your idea should fall in the category of a product or process. If it is falling in the category of product or process, it is eligible. First is eligible subject matter for filing a patent application. And remember, this is an exclusive right. Means if you get a patent, it's a rights given by the state, by the patent office to the inventor or the applicant for 20 years. 20 years, that is from the date of filing, you get the patent rights for your idea. After it is examined, a prosecution, after it's granted, but your right starts from the day of filing. From the day of filing up to 20 years. And it protects in a patent document. When we describe your patent application, it is like you have give a background, you describe your invention with the help of drawings and other details. What are the industrial uses, how the processes work, what is the composition. Then end of the patent document, you will list out set of claims, serially 1 to 10, 1 to 20. So those claims are the one that you get protection for. Even though you explain everything in the patent application, but you don't write in the claim, means you have disclaimed. And during the prosecution process, there is some way, maybe if required, you can take the help of support that you have got in the specification. But claims are the one which in the court of law, if there is infringement case happens, it is around the claims typically it is looked into. And what rights you get? We say patents are not a positive right, means it may not guarantee you to manufacture the product, but it can definitely stop or exclude others from creating, producing, using, selling, importing your invention. So that is the right the patent holder gets. That's why we said a positive right. And why do I say it is not a positive right? Possible that you have got an idea and you have got a patent, you have shown some sort of validation, but to produce that product, maybe there is a overlapping patent somebody else has got. You might have some license of one component to manufacture your complete product. So that's why it is not necessarily a guarantee that you can manufacture your patents, but definitely you can stop others from using your idea. So patents could be as simple as Septipin. Septipin had a patent. It's a very interesting story. Maybe you can look into that. Or it could be as complex as aeroplane or a mobile device or car. So it could be simple to complex. Anything you can patent it as long as it is satisfy the criteria of novelty, inventive step, and you have described your invention with full detail with a support. Next, intellectual property right is industrial design. So when we talk about industrial design, uh, it talks only about the aesthetic feature of the product. It doesn't talk about the functionality of the product. The functionality can be protected only through patents, not through the design protection. The design protection, remember, it protects only the appearance or features of the product. And the criteria is it should be new at the time of filing. You should not have done any public disclosure before filing the design application, original. And the term typically it is 10 years and it is extendable another one renewal for another 5 years. So totally 15 years of design protection that you can get. Another strategies that is option that many companies or applicants they use is you might have one idea. Say for example, you have idea for a iron. It's a one device, but you can have multiple uh, design or maybe say glucometer or some sort of device that you have. It could be one functional feature. You might have one patent for that product, but you might have a multiple version, multiple design of the features, the aesthetic, the appearance for the multiple design from the single product. So that's how the companies built patent portfolio, having multiple IP from one single idea. That is the way design protection helps to create multiple IPs. Say, for example, we have this microscope, Leica microscope. So this is a high precision microscope for research and clinical use. The way this microscope functions, it can be protected through utility patent, functional features. But the way it is how comforting the handles, the way it looks, the distinct look and feel of the product can be protected by industrial design protection. So all aesthetic feature of the product, you can protect through industrial design. And having the design protection, it creates a strong brand identity in premium markets. One important thing is for patents and design, both this intellectual property right, you should have the novelty which is very important. At the time of filing, you should not have done any public disclosure to filing. But there is some way, like for India and US, you get one way leeway to file a patent. Suppose you have done a public disclosure and then you want to file a patent, but typically rest of the world, it has to have absolute novelty. And the day of filing, you should not have disclosed anyway your idea, maybe through conference, paper presentation, or any broadcast publication. You should avoid all that if you are planning to file for a patent or design application. And the next intellectual property rights is copyrights. This is typically many of you are aware because you might have written some books, paintings, or music video that you hear. So this belongs to the category of copyright. And you might have an idea, but it doesn't protect the idea per se. It protects the way these ideas are expressed in a particular, either it's a form of the book, painting, letter, some way if it is expressed and fixed tangible form. Suppose you say I have done a painting on the sand. If it is not fixed, if it is not tangible, you may not may not be able to secure a copyright for that. So that is important. And it should be original idea. What I mean by original is you would have written, somebody would have written, maybe the story might be same. Suppose you want to write a story about say one particular, say Ramayana or some freedom about particular story, but the way somebody is writing the story, representing in a book, that has to be original. because the way somebody writes, it's a different. The concept might be similar, but the story somebody is writing in a different way that creates the creativity and originality of the concept. And there are different types of work that can be copyrighted, like musical work, cinematography work, any kind of books writing. So these are the different kinds of work that can be protected under copyright. And we say narrow protection. Why? Because compared to patents, where you stop others from the ideation stage, suppose you have clearly defined how your patent is, uh, the process is involved, what are the products you have, you cannot, somebody else cannot use the same process and come out with another patent. But in case of copyright, if you have a story concept, maybe 5 people are writing 5 different book on that concept, they might get a 5 different copyrights. So that's why we call it as a narrow protection. Now, what are the terms of copyright? The copyright typically in India, it is life of the author plus 60 years. So depending on the country, it could be life plus 60 year, life plus 50 year. In India, it is life for 60 years. Another important aspect that you need to remember is all these intellectual property rights that we are discussing are territorial right. Suppose you're filing a copyright in India, you get a copyright protection in India. You're filing in US or Europe, wherever you're filing, you get the rights, be it a patent or trademark copyrights. Respectively, you have to file in that particular country to get the protection. But there are certain ways we can file international filing. Like say, for example, for if we want to file a patent in multiple country, probably we'll discuss that little later when we file a patent. How do you file multiple country uh, from one particular, starting originating from one particular country, and then how do you file that idea, that patent in multiple country? We'll talk about that. Same for copyright. In case of copyright, there's something called Berne Convention. Through that, you can file your copyright multiple country. But ultimately, these are the international filing processes. Ultimately, each particular country, jurisdiction, it has to be examined and the rights has to be proven. And one of the important case for the copyright is Happy Birthday to You. That's a very important, as per the Guinness Book of World Record. This is one of the very popular English piece of writing. If I can share this simple story to tell you that how important the copyrights are. So it is 1890s, two sister, Madry Hill and Patty Hill. They came out, they were teacher in Kentucky, US. They were kindergarten teacher. So they came out a nice song, Good Morning to You, in the lyrics of Happy Birthday to You. So they used the song in kindergarten. And then in 1912, the rights of this copyright for this copyright has been given to Sammy and Company, and the Sammy and Company has been used were using this uh, Happy Birthday to You uh, extensively, and it became very popular. People started using music plays in at homes, clubs, theater. And then around 19 towards late 19th century, 1917 onwards, the rights of this company has been given to Warner and Chappell Music. And after that, Warner and Chappell started suing anybody who is playing this Happy Birthday to You. Could be around $700 per time you play this song. Because according to the company owns the rights for this Happy Birthday to You song. And 2013, there was a case law against the Warner and Chappell uh, saying that this Happy Birthday to You song is out of copyrighted period. And in 2016, there was a $14 million dollar lawsuit which the company has to pay as a compensation uh, for uh, this licensing fee that it has collected from people. And then the court settled that as per the new rules in copyright law in US, that this particular song is out of copyrighted period. So this is one of the celebrated case laws in copyright. So just to tell you that how important, even if the small song can um, give you a lot of benefit when it is been written in long back in 1980s. Next, IPR, intellectual property right, is trade secrets. So typically, trade secrets, what we say, any commercially available information that gives your business or research a competitive advantage. It could be a piece of information about your client, your research methodology, or your processes, or your recipe, any valuable information that helps your business or your work having a competitive advantage compared to your competitor. So that is considered as your trade secret. So this is something very interesting because if you are a scientist, you come up with a lot of ideas, but you may not have the funding to file five patent probably this year. So what you could do, you could file one or two patent, whatever is option available for you, and the remaining thing probably you can put it as a trade secret list. And then as and when you are ready to file, you can remove from the trade secret list and you can file. So this is typically used by many startups and companies. Uh, how to use the trade secrets to protect your ideas. Term, there is no term because as long as you keep it secret, it is a trade secret. Next is challenges, because first is as a inventor, as an applicant, or person with a lot of ideas, or a company, you have to understand what are your trade secrets. It's not necessarily it has to be a big scientific process. It could be a simple processes like your vendor list, customer list, client list, or the way you are running some certain experiments, or little tweak in your manufacturing process, some change in temperature, the way you are growing some a certain bacteria or cell. So that could be your trade secrets. So very important case studies like Coca-Cola. So they say the formula is still secret and never patented, and for last 130 years and plus, and been strictly guarded and maintained with confidentiality agreement. So trade secret, there is no specific laws in India like we have a patent act, patent law, or trademark law, copyright law. So there is nothing specific for trade secret, but it is protected under the common law. And if you have to maintain a trade secret, you can sign a confidential agreement to whom you are disclosing your trade secrets. So one more thing to understand is patents are for say 20 years, but trade secrets, though it takes more care, more secrecy, and more legal enforcement to protect this trade secret. But if you can maintain it in a strict internal security and confidential agreements, you can keep it secret as long as possible. Like, so for example, if Coca-Cola would have filed a patent long back, after 20 years, it would have been in public domain. But if they have maintained it for so long, as long as it is maintained as a secret, it can be a trade secret for the company. Okay, so next is geographical indications. So typically, there are certain things like say basmati rice or pattachitra or Kanjivaram silk or Darjeeling tea. So these are the different products specific to a particular geographical origin and is an identity to that place. Say, for example, if we talk about Darjeeling tea, because of the place, weather condition, soil condition, the flavor of the tea, the quality of the tea is very specific. And that is known as a GI tag of Darjeeling tea. So they get a GI tag when they apply. It's a group community protection. Any tea growing in the area of Darjeeling will get a Darjeeling tea tag protection. So like that, we have multiple GI tag options available. Rasgulla, so many things that these are all GI. So this actually refers to a quality reputation of that product originating and so from that particular region. So this is another kind of intellectual property rights. Now coming to plant varieties, probably this might be interesting considering the audience may be mainly from the plant scientist. So plants varieties are another form of intellectual property rights where you have a new, distinct, uniform, stable plant varieties. If you have developed through breeding or discovery. And these are exclusive rights to produce and sell new varieties. Now, plant variety protection can be protected as per the WIPO. It can be protected through patents or it can be protected through sui generis system. Sui generis system is It's an alternative system of protection. It has different set of guidelines, rules. In India, it is protected as a sui generis system. Say, for example, when we talk about plant variety, it's a specific group of plants within a single botanical taxon that is distinguishable by its characteristic. It can be propagated and maintain those characteristics. So this plant variety protection grants the breeders the exclusive rights if they develop a new plant variety and encourages their innovation and investment in plant variety protection. In India, it is the Protection for Plant Varieties and Farmers' Right Act in 2001. It protects helps the farmers and breeders to protect their plant varieties. So there are few characteristics which is important to have the plant variety protection. That is novelty, distinctiveness, and then uniformity and stability. So it has to be a new novel. Some novelty will be there, distinct from existing varieties, and there's a uniform. Maybe if you crossbreed, or sorry, if you in generation, it should be uniform characteristic of that particular features of the plant, and it should be stable across generations, because if you go to one generation, next generation, it should not be change of that distinct characteristic of the plant variety. So that is one of the important criteria to have the plant varieties protection. Then comes to traditional knowledge. Traditionally, considering India, we have lot of wealth of knowledge in our Unani, Siddha, Ayurveda. So lot of this knowledge is passed from generations to generations, and there are a lot of particular practices. People do it for the treatment method. They have adapted to different cultures and in the environment or in the families. A lot of this secrets runs in the families. Now, to protect the ideas, the knowledge that is associated, generational ideas or practices within a community, something called a traditional. These are all called as traditional knowledge. Any patents filed using traditional knowledge per se are considered as not patentable, because many of these practices may or may not be available in public domain, but they might be specific to available to specific community or specific families. As long as they can be considered as traditional knowledge, you cannot file a patent solely based on the traditional knowledge. So, for example, turmeric, we had a interesting case in 1995. There is a US patent for turmeric filed for wound healing, which is traditionally known for Indians for centuries. Then CSIR challenged the patent on the ground of traditional knowledge, but finally the patent was revoked based on a lack of novelty in 1997. So after that, the government of India, CSIR, came out with a traditional knowledge database, in 2001, and it is available to all the patent office across the world to check what is considered as Indian traditional knowledge, and government typically keep on updating this list. If uh, something is recorded as a traditional knowledge, any patent directly out of the traditional knowledge or practices from the traditional knowledge will not have novelty, and it will not be granted any patent grant for those ideas. Yeah. Another interesting thing is National Biodiversity Authority, NBA. Considering if you plant science, if you are more into plant science, so this is very important for you to know that we have an NBA approval process. If your invention uh, falls under like biological diversity, which means variability among living organism, variability among living organism from all sources and ecological complexes, which they are part or includes diversity within a species or between species and of the ecosystem. So these are all biological diversity. Uh, Biological resources, like these are plants or animals or microorganisms or parts thereof, but that genetic materials and byproducts are or they have excluded as a value. If it is a value-added product, that is excluded from the list. But any of these plants, animals, microorganisms, their parts, uh, these are all considered as a part of the biodiversity. If your invention falling under the parts of plants, animals, microorganisms, you need to have a permission from Indian Biodiversity Board but their value-added products are not considered as a biodiversity material. And now, if your invention has any of these bioresources, if you have to file for a patent, you can log into NBA portal, and then you can apply for the NBA approval. Now, for Indian applicants, if everybody in your company or the research or the inventor or the applicants, everybody is Indian, so typically you can get this biodiversity approval before the grant of the patent application. But if your team involves any of the foreign applicants, in that case, you must get this filing of patent. Before filing of the patent, you must get this approval process done. This is very important for all of you to know, and there are a lot of strict rules and regulations and penalty if the application is permission from biodiversity is not secured before the grant of application. If the NBA is not approved, the patent will not be granted. And for foreign applicants, if it is not approved before filing for a patent, in fact, you should do it before you start the research itself for the foreign applicant if they are involved. Now, according to Section 2 and 3 of Biological Diversity Act 2002, bioresources means plants, animal, microorganisms, or parts thereof. Their genetic materials are not included under this term. If like in case of it is a coconut oil or the plants or anything you are using, you have to disclose everything in your NBA process. Suppose your NBA has you have a formulation. You might say, I have a 20 different plant extract I'm using. So each of the 20 different plant extract, how did you procure, who are the vendor details, everything has to be disclosed. Which parts of the plants that you have used in your research and in your patent process, it has to be disclosed everything to the NBA office, and the approval has to be sought accordingly. Okay. So now let us dive a little more deeper into the patent system. The patent system, anybody has any question or we can continue with the patent system? Maybe we'll take up the questions after we complete the presentation. Okay. Now,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we can go question at a time. But before, I have a question, and maybe it helps to other to clarify once again. Like you have mentioned that if you don't have a money or enough money to file a patent, then we can go for a trade secret. Okay,
correct.
but I just wanted to know, like if it is trade secret and I keeping the secret without making any product or making
Mm,
anything
mm,
which is marketable, then why we should take the trade secret? Because no one knows it. If we use this trade secret to produce something and selling that product, uh, so I just wanted to
mm.
know what is the necessity to take secret if I don't have any product?
Yeah, interesting question. Very important question. Uh, what option I gave is trade secrets only when you don't have fund to say you have 5 patents to file. For example, you have 5 ideas. That is one scenario. You have, say, from your research grant, you have funding for 2 patents to file. So you can file those patents, it can go to public domain. But the other 3, they are very important to file, but you don't have funding. So then in that scenario, maybe you can put a hold and have it as a trade secret for maybe 6 months or 1 year, or till the time you can have some additional funding to file for a patent. That is one scenario. Second scenario, um, it is not always patent system, patent protection would help. Like, for example, in case of Coca-Cola, if they would have filed a patent, uh, it will be within 20 years, it'll go to public domain. But
Mm.
if you can make it secret, you can keep it secret as long as it is possible, or it is you plan to secret. That is another benefit. The third is, if you think you want to manufacture, as you said rightly, that you want to manufacture and sell the product, you have a team to work on this. You might have to look for collaborator. You might associate with a different scientist, researcher, where the idea easily be disseminated to public. In that scenario, patent is the most important IP that you have to look for. Another scenario is, suppose you have a patent for something like, you can say pickle, for example pickle, that somebody came up with a very interesting pickle or formulation, which has some health benefit or something like that. And in that you are listing out, they say, 5 different ingredient, and it is easy to copy by somebody. Or somebody, you are using say 5 grams of one ingredient, somebody might use it 7 grams or 10 grams. It doesn't change the composition per se. So you cannot stop others from reinventing or invent around your idea. In those scenario, we would recommend a client that filing a patent of not much of use, because even though you get a patent, but you will not be able to stop others. So, those scenario, having a patent means you are going to disclose each and every aspect of your idea to public. So that's a patent is a quid pro system. Like you have to disclose everything, then only the government is going to give you a patent grant. And whereas in case of trade secret, some invention like difficult to protect the invention, you can, as a company or inventor, you can keep it as a trade secret.
So for my understanding, what I can understand that if it is something you are interested for technology transfer, then patent is more accurate than the
100%.
patent secret. But if you wanted to do some startup in future and don't wanted to give the idea right now, then you keep the trade secret, so you can keep as it is. You wanted to make it secret.
To certain extent, I mean, to certain time to get your funding and go for patenting. But certain kind of invention that you don't want to be in public domain, because that could be years of research you have come out, and this is easily can be copied by others. So then maybe you could consider having a trade secret. So it depends. There is nothing called uh, hard and fast or straightforward rules. These are all strategies that we follow based on the invention, based on the idea, based on the technology. So what is applicable for a software technology may not be applicable for a bioscientist or a chemist or other technology. So based on the technology, if say for example something like a software, today whatever you file within 3 months, totally it is changed. So by the time you get a patent grant, 1 year or 3 years time, the you yourself would have changed the complete technology by the time you start actually using that. So those scenario you have to weigh out whether patent is a right process or some other aspect of intellectual right that you should follow. But as far as trade secret and patents are concerned, what we discuss, what is your concern is correctly right. If you want to manufacture and start selling it, you better to have a patent, or you want to technology transfer it, so you should have a patent.
Okay, okay, ma'am. And lots of questions is coming from the YouTube also. I'm collecting. Let's okay. You go forward with.
Another, maybe what we will do is another 10 to 15 minutes, 10 minutes we'll wind up, and then we can have a good discussion for half an hour or so.
No problem, ma'am. Okay.
Okay. So now in the patent system, there are few things. It is like an idea to innovation. You have an idea and you take it forward to making a product or process invention. Uh, what you do when you come out with the idea, typically you would like to know that whether your idea is patentable. Because as we understand, novelty is very important. So the patent, the idea that you are thinking, is it that somebody else has already worked about it? Or is it that somebody else has published some research article, but you don't know about, you are not aware about it? So we have to do a patentability search to identify the novelty and inventive aspect of the invention, your idea. Now, if it is true, if it is, yes, it is novel, and if it is inventive, and then what we do is we'll take it forward to the next step. You draft a patent application, you file a patent. Then after filing a patent, there is something called examination or prosecution process. It is examined by the patent examiner in the respective country wherever you have filed, and you get a report that is called IPR, first examination report. And in the report, the examiner would have cited this examination. They would have cited few prior acts which says that your invention is related to this a few 3 to 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8 prior arts, and you have to probably set up questions how you are different from those prior art and what is your inventive step considering you have 4 or 5 prior arts. So you have to kind of explain point by point whatever the question raised in the FER report. Now, after you submit the FER report, there could be another process, something called hearing. If the patent examiner is not satisfied with your written submission, then they might call you for a hearing of the patent application. Now, anything which is to be explained during the hearing, then you submit a response to the hearing. After it is completely satisfied with all the questions and answer, there are usually 3 options. One is if the patent, maybe the claims or the specification, you might have to amend based on the examiner questions to satisfy to overcome the novelty or inventive step or any other aspect. And the second is it can be granted as it is. Or third is if the examiner is not satisfied at all, then you could, there may not be that many would be grant a patent application. These are 3 outcome of the examination process. And after, if it is successful question answer session, the submission of the examination report, submission of the hearing response, if everything is satisfied as per the requirement by the patent office, then there is a grant of patent application. So this is typically the patent system. It works typically same for all the countries. And then after it is granted, then you have to pay the maintenance fee. As we discussed, patents are for 20 years from the date of filing. So the 20 years, the day you file, suppose it gets granted in the end of 3rd year or 4th year. Now, India patent system is becoming robust. A lot of changes in the patent system, so you can expedite your patent system. Earlier, that options was available for very specific scenario if you're entering India through international route. And so those are the cases were available. Right now, if you're one of the applicant or co-applicant is woman, or if you are a startup, or if you are an MSME registered company, or if you're entering India through foreign route, so these are the scenario you can expedite your patent application examination process. So you can even get a patent in 6 months to 1 year time, depending on the, if you do everything fast forward, you immediately file a patent, immediately file for the early publication request, immediately file for the expedite examination request, it can even be granted in 6 to 8 months time. So after the patent is granted, you have to pay the maintenance fee starting from 3rd year onwards to the life of the patent, like up to 20 years. Suppose your patent is granted in the 3rd year, so then you have to pay 1 year fee. Suppose it is granted in 6th year, so the maintenance fee has to be paid every year to make the patent live. Now, in case of patentability search, we establish the novelty and inventive step of your idea. So it's a very interesting and interesting case studies of how novelty is so important. It was 1960, this Danish inventor, which there was a ship which was drowned in the Kuwait harbor. And then there's the inventor, Carl Croyer. So he came out an idea. He said, we will put so many plastic balls into the drowning ship because that water Kuwait harbor was connected to the drinking water system, and the insurance has to pay a lot of a fee for that. And because of using his idea, they could pull out the drowning ship. So, and then he filed for a patent. His patent was granted in couple of countries but denied in Holland. And Holland Patent Office says that in 1947 there was a Donald Duck magazine which talks about the similar kind of concept to pull out the drowning yacht. So that was the reason which, as per the story goes. So it was, remember, it was 1960s. Now we are in 2025, where at the click of the button, all the patent examiner has access to all the information around the world to find out where your idea was, or similar kind of idea was already available to public before your patent filing date. So novelty is extremely important if you are planning to file for a patent. You should not be doing any public disclosure till the time you file at least a provisional patent application. So having a prior art search, it help you establish a novelty, it will help you the validity of the future of your IP, it establishes the inventive step, or you understand that, okay, some similar kind of ideas are already available, but maybe if you can change the method, you can tweak in the process, probably you get a better protection, better claim. So that all information comes out when you do a prior art search. And FTO, which is another important search, is called freedom to operate search. So as I said, you might be doing something, saying that something very unique that you are doing, but it could be possible that one of your process, one of your steps in the method where you are using, which is covered by a previous patent by previous companies or some other inventor. In that case, if you are using that same method, which is already covered in another granted patent, you are kind of infringing the other applicant's right by working on your invention. So in those scenario, to avoid any legal complexity, you should definitely do a freedom to operate search. If you have any doubt, or slightest of doubt that you might be infringing, or knowingly, unknowingly, you might be infringing some other steps in your process of manufacturing, or in your product, or any brand that you are using. So when you do this FTO search, you typically get the information about what are the other rights, and you are free that you can operate for manufacturing your product or process. So this is another search that we do. It helps in commercialize your patents. There is certain invention as per the Indian Patent Act under Section 3 and Section 4, which is considered as non-patentable. So patentable subject matters are product or process, but the setup list of ideas has given, that's called exclusion list, which is available and in Section 3 and Section 4 of Indian Patent Act. If I just give you one brief summary of that. So these are frivolous, if the invention is frivolous, invention against the natural law. For example, you came out with an idea, you says that I have an invention which is, you don't need an input, but you might come out with the output continuously, which is against the natural law. So even how much ever detailed explanation you give, how much ever way you try to validate, you might not get a patent out of it because it is something against the natural law. Invention which is contrary to public order or morality or prejudice to life or environment, anything going to which is contrary to our public order or health or life of a human or animal or environment, those kind of inventions are not allowed as a patentable subject matter. Scientific principle, abstract theories, uh, like Newton's law, Einstein's theory, these are all abstract principle, abstract theory and scientific principle. These are not patentable invention. Any new form, new use. Sometime we get a disclosure saying that this drug is already known, but I want to repurpose. It is known for epileptic, but I want to use it for cancer because I see that the same drug can be used for cancer. Any new use, new application of a known drug, known property, new property of the known drug will not be a patentable subject matter. But yeah, if you have to, you modify the initial composition, then you make it a modified composition, as long as it satisfies the inventive step, that can be patented. But new use of a known substance is not patentable, but is patentable in different jurisdictions, like in European Union, second medical use is patentable. Admixture. Admixture is, suppose two ingredients you are mixing, but they are not interacting, or they are not reacting with each other. So for example, you say salt is it's a simple example, salt and paper. You say I mix it and it's a new mixture, but it's considered as admixture because they do not interact with each other to bring out a new composition or bring out a separate effect. So that will be considered as admixture. These are not patentable. Mere arrangement, rearrangement of the device or duplication. So, for example, you have a pen. You said, "I have a pen, and that's a touch." You are adding the touch behind of the pen, and these are the new device. So this is kind of a arrangement or rearrangement of devices. So that will not be patentable. But say, for example, you say whenever that current goes up, there is a sensor, and then automatically the torch will work. So that could be something if it satisfy the conditions of uh, inventive step, that could be patentable. But mere arrangement, rearrangement, any workshop development will not be patentable. Method of agriculture and horticulture are not patentable. Those essential methods are not patentable. But the tools used for the horticulture, tools used for the agriculture are patentable. Similar way, medical methods, life-saving methods, anything related to therapy, curative method, any surgical procedure, any life-saving medical processes, they are not, essential methods are not patentable. But any devices, medical devices, they are all patentable. Plants, animals, as we discussed, plants, animals, as per the Indian Patent Act, are not patentable. But in US, plant patents are available. So depending on the country, if we get a patent disclosure, suppose, for example, we have a extract from the plant, plus plants are being genetically engineered plant, and there's a composition from the plant leaves or extract, and that has some properties. If we draft a patent application for India, the setup claims would be maybe for the composition, for the processes you are making the composition, and maybe the method how you are doing. But in the same disclosure, you file a patent in US, probably you could cover the plant, a claim for the plant. So depending on the jurisdiction, the way you draft the claims also changes. Mathematical algorithm, computer programs, these are all not patentable. Copyrightable works, presentations, they are not patentable, but they are protected under copyright. Mental arts, a method of playing games, so these are barred from patenting. Integrated circuits, like we discussed about plant variety protections, so integrated circuits also protected under different sui generis system. Traditional knowledge, as we discussed, not patentable. Anything related to national security, atomic energy, those are not patentable. So first, when we check a patentable requirement, when we receive a disclosure from a client, so we see, first we have to see if it is a patentable subject matter, because you can argue for patentability, inventive step, or any other aspect of the invention during prosecution. But if it falls under non-patentable subject matter, you cannot defend. If it is a part of the animals or plants, there is no question the examiner will examine anything further, because from the beginning itself, it's struck out. So when we receive a patent disclosure from a client, we first see whether it is a patentable subject matter. Is it a method of playing game? It's a mental arc. If something is like that, so then straightforward, we cannot patent this. But then there's different applications. If that can be done, maybe therapy, learning, those are things. If something like that could be patentable, but as such, if it is a patentable, not patentable subject matter, we do not take it further. The next is utility. Utilities, it has to have some sort of utility, at least in one of the industrial applicability. One use should be there. Suppose you are a chemist, you might say that I have so many compositions, so many formulation of a say a molecule, and but I don't know what exactly it can be used, but that looks interesting. I could file a patent, I can protect this molecule, but the usability or the utility part probably I could describe later. So that is not possible, because in your application, you should at least describe one use of your composition or a method that you have. Then next is very important that we discuss is novelty. Your idea has to be novel at the time of filing, though there is some 1 year grace period, but that are a lot of conditions attached to that. Non-obviousness, it has to be non-obvious in the sense, suppose you are a plant scientist, and whether another plant scientist can come out with that idea easily. If it is yes, then your idea is non-obviousness. So this is one of the important criteria where the prosecution varies the examination report. We have to argue a lot for the non-obviousness, why you think it is inventive step, and you have to prove your inventive step considering the prior arts that are available. So this is one of the important aspect of the patentability requirement. Last is specification. So you have, as a scientist, you might think that explaining about 3 different composition is not necessary, because I know if you have A, B, C, I know it is obvious for a scientist like you to understand, and if I mix A, B, C, you get certain result. But if you don't describe in your patent application, why did you combine A, B, C in a specific order? So if that is not coming out from your specification, though you have a claim for the composition, though you have a claim for the method, but if it is not supported in your specification, what is the need for you to combine in specific scenario, or what is the need to take this process of manufacturing, then you might have a well-written application, you might have a well-written claim set which is drafted, but if it is not supported by the specification, then it is very difficult to get those claims granted. Then if I can talk about a little bit about the strategies for filing, PCT, as we said, patents are territorial right. Suppose you file a patent in India, you get a right in India. You file a patent in Taiwan, you get a patent in Taiwan, or Australia, you get a patent in Australia, US. But there are certain ways you can file patents in multiple countries. Something called PCT, Patent Cooperation Treaty. There are 158 contracting states as of January 2025. Suppose you file a patent in India and then within 12 months you wanted to go to say 5 different countries. You want to go to next step of filing into 5 different country protection that you want to have. So what you can do instead of uh, filing in 5 different countries, you can just file one PCT filing at WIPO Geneva. You just do one filing all your disclosure, inventor's detail, applicant detail, and then after filing PCT, you have a choice to enter 158 country from that PCT application within 30 or 31 months from the first filing. So that is one way to enable the applicants or inventors to file multiple country filing. If you have done PCT filing, you don't have to submit all the documents in all the jurisdiction again. You can, suppose you want to file in Japan, the Japan Patent Office or European Union, they will just take all the information from the PCT and they will take it forward for the filing and prosecution in European Union or Japan. So that way it helps you for the inventor to save a lot of hassle, and it enables smooth filing of international applications. India is a member state for the PCT. There's another way also you can file. You don't go through PCT route. There's something else, something called convention application. Instead of going through PCT, you can file in India, continue with India, and take that priority from Indian application. In PCT recognizes this 158 country recognizes the priority from the Indian applications. With that priority, you can enter this 158 country through PCT, or with that Indian priority, you can enter. If suppose you want to file only in India and US, you don't have to go through PCT. You can just file one application in India, continue with the prosecution of Indian application, and then you can just file another application in US. That's called convention application. So this is how the processes of strategies for filing. Another one is called ARIPO. ARIPO is a African Regional Intellectual Property Organization. 22 countries are member states to that. If you file one application in ARIPO, it has been filed in all the 22 member states. So these are the different ways that you can file your patent application in India and international. Now, if we see typically the timelines of the Indian filing process, how does it work? Suppose you have an idea, but your idea is not completely ready. You have certain method and composition or certain device that you have. This is how it is going to be the individual components, but you are not very sure whether what are the exact quantities, what are the exact features, or what are the exact alternate embodiments that you can prepare this. So in those cases, you might just file a provisional application, because by filing a provisional application, you are securing a date for yourself. That's called priority date. Any application similar to your idea filed after your provisional filing date, then you should not be worried about. So securing a date is very important. But if you wait all the validation studies, everything, and then you file, you might lose out a lot of uh, the date of priority. It so happened that during that 1 year, maybe somebody else would have filed for the same idea, and you might lose out the chance to protect your invention. So that's a provision the patent offices have given us, that you can file a provisional. Then you get 12 months time for filing a provisional to come out with your detailed description of your invention, where we file a complete specification application. Then after filing the complete specification, all the patent applications are published 18 months from the first filing date. Then it is examined. The request for examination date for India is now 31 months. Then after that, there'll be technical examination, substantive examination. Then you get a examination report, you comply with the examination report, then there could be a hearing. Then after you satisfy all the questions asked in your examination report, then your application will be put for the grant, and there'll be grant of the patent. So this is typically Indian patent filing process. Same thing if you have to file PCT. So how does it look like? So you file a local application, like Indian application, first 0 month. Then within 12 months, you file a PCT at WIPO, PCT application at WIPO. Then PCT comes out with the international search report and written opinion. And once you have this search report and written opinion, this is not binding by any PCT contracting states, but it is a guidance for the inventor to think through, okay, your invention has good chance, so that you can think about protecting in multiple country, or it is a guidance for the applicant to decide how strong or what are the opinion coming out of the PCT search. Then there'll be international publication. Then request for, if you're not happy with the search they have done, you can request for international supplementary search report. Then there'll be international examination, and there's a report on the patentability. Then after that, within 30 or 31 months, depending on the country, you have to enter any national space to continue with the examination process. Suppose you do not enter any country, then you would lose, after the international phase is over, you will lose the right to enter any future country. So this is the international phase, and after 30 or 31 months, the national phase starts. So this is typically the PCT filing process. And if I can just take 5 minutes about how IP is helping increasing the invention. Typically, it gives exclusive rights to the inventor. It allows recovery of the R&D cost, because a lot of investment requires to come out with any product or solution through R&D process, which you can recover by technology transfer. And it is way of sharing your knowledge, because all the patents, remember, has to be published before the prosecution starts. So it is one way to promote public disclosure of your idea, knowledge sharing, because after 20 years over, all the rights are all the rights ends with the patent life of the patent ends, and then all the information available with the patent application is kind of it will be in public domain. So that is one way that IPR helps in scientific progress. So it's a recognition for the inventor, and encourage long-term investment in R&D. And when you have patents, it protects the time, effort that you invested. It has signal to the market that potential inventor can invest in your idea, and you can facilitate collaboration with your partners on different countries, jurisdiction, because if you have a patent, they look at that what kind of research that we are doing, whether they can collaborate. Suppose you are coming out with a product, they are coming out with a different kind of alternatives of the products or processes, they would like to collaborate with you. One way to signal your collaborator is through patent publications. There are a lot of case studies. This anti-diabetic drug developed by CSIR and CMAP. It's a blend of 6 traditional herbs type 2 diabetes, patent filed for the process, formulation, and use, and modern validation and clinical studies. They are supported by the IP, and it was commercial by the company. So like that, another case study is like Himalayan drug, Leaf 52. Many of us would have used it, Septalin. So they use this brand's trademarks for the brand protection. And the longer the time the trademarks are used in the market, the more the stronger is the value of the trademark. So patents, and many I think you can use, many companies use the trade secret to protect the proprietary information. Yeah, we are done with the presentation now. Probably we can take a few questions. We have 15 minutes time. We can take a few questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we will start with a few questions and then we'll collect more from YouTube. Meanwhile, Shubha,
Yes.
start collecting from YouTube, and I have a few questions prepared for the general audience, and we will start with that, ma'am.
Go for asking Shoma your question. Then I have already collected, and we will discuss something after your session.
Yes. So, ma'am, I will ask you a few questions, which are like common questions. So, are there any common misconceptions that scientists have about patents and IPR in research?
Patents and research. How? Yeah, you can ask the question.
Are there any common misconceptions about patents and IPR in research from scientist perspective?
Okay. So when we do research, as a scientist, when we do research, you come out with a lot of newer processes and product formulation, drugs, methods, strategies. So those can be protected in different kinds of IPR, like patents or design or copyrights. So these are different way you can. Typically, I would say patents is one of the most important IP that scientists will be looking at. So that goes hand in hand. I mean, because as you are working, definitely you are working on something new technology, new development in your technology, which definitely those could be patented by our patent process.
All right. And ma'am, at what stage in research should one start thinking about filing a patent?
Very good question. So typically, when you know your idea is kind of frozen, like you have these ingredients, or you have this method, or you are writing a software code. So these are the end result that I want to achieve. I know what are the processes that I need to follow. As soon as you are clear about that, you should thinking about filing a patent. It should not happen that you wait for the full validation, as I mentioned. You wait for the full validation. It might take 1 year, because as a scientist, you might think, okay, this is just 3 months. I'll come back, I'll complete it and file. But by the time you complete it, maybe 3 months, maybe 3 years, or maybe 2 years. By the time you will lose out a lot of time. So as soon as your idea is frozen about initial high level idea, you should typically think about filing a provisional patent.
All right. And can how can young researchers balance between publishing their work and protecting it through patents?
Hmm. Uh, See, once typically the search and filing process just take 1 month's time. By the time you keep your publication ready to sending out to journals, your patent would have been filed. So it is not that patent filing process takes long time. It just take a couple of weeks. But granting process might take 6 months to say 3 years, depending on what route you are taking. But once you file a provisional patent, you are good to send out the information to your journals.
And are there any specific areas in science where patenting is more crucial or impactful?
Yes. I would suggest that wherever your investment is very high, especially in R&D, those are research intensive area, investment funding intensive. You need lot of funding. You don't want whatever you have spent your time and hard work in the research and funding should just go out just by somebody else can copy, and or somebody else can file a patent before you file a patent, or you publish anything. So those are the area definitely you should give more attention for protecting those ideas.
Okay. So we are coming into this topic about international patent laws. So I have two questions regarding this. So how do international patent laws differ, and what should researchers from developing countries keep in mind when filing patents globally?
Yes.
And I also have another question. Should I say it? It is
Yeah,
related.
yeah, 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 yeah. You can tell me.
Is it advisable for researchers to pursue international patents, and under what circumstances?
Yes. Uh, Interesting question, because when we talk about the researcher and scientists, as far as company is concerned, they have a lot of funding and they have a lot of market they know. They usually go for multiple country filing. So
Hmm.
whenever we are talking about the research output, you may or may not have clients in all the countries. I would recommend to at least prioritize. Suppose you say that if I cater to India and US, my 80% client based in India and US. The rest of the world, it is only 20%. So it is only ideal to file only in India and US. For the 20% market, you don't have to, because remember, these are research and the fund investment also very high when you want to do a patent protection. So that is why
Yes.
you have to identify your target market, or you might say, I will file a PCT, I will look for investment. Wherever I get investment, how much budget I have, I might enter those many countries. So that's, you have to strategize that.
Um, what role does IPR play in the success of a science-based startup and spin-offs?
I would say it's 100% marks I will give to IPR, because we say for a startup, IPR or IP protection is the currency of negotiation, because when you want to technology transfer, when you want to collaborate, unless you have some IP with you, there is no more value. Because for a startup, is idea is the main product that you have. This is a main IP that you have. That is the more valuable asset that you have. So that is very, very important, extremely important for startups.
And how can academic institutions better support researchers in protecting and commercializing their innovations?
So one thing what I would recommend is sensitizing your research, your faculties, students. Like when, as you, the question that you asked, when we should think about filing a patent, how long should I wait to think about sending out a disclosure to attorney, or do you think this idea is worthy of protection? So those are the things, the sensitization to the researcher and scientist. That is first step. Second step is having a technology transfer office. If you have a technology transfer office, they will take care of the signing agreements, NDA with the collaborators. So these are the other thing. So these are the thing we have to, I mean, you have to regularly do, and having a straight and clear IP policy with the institute or organization. Because if the scientist knows, if I file a patent, the right belongs to the institute, or I might get some denomination, or I might be a co-applicant. So those aspects has to be clear to the scientist from the beginning. So having a clear definitions of what are the IPs when they're generating, whether they can own it or the institute are going to own, or what is other aspects they can protect it. So having those clear IP policies, another aspect which is very important, what I see is my experience working with multiple industries and multiple research institute.
Ma'am, we have to talk about AI nowadays. So, with the rise of AI and synthetic biology, how is the IPR landscape evolving in terms of ethical and legal challenges?
I mean, that is very important question, because having AI, there are certain things that what we say is sometime we for filing a patent, you have to be the inventor. The human are typically are the inventors. The name cannot be a non-human inventor. But there is situation has come that people have filed for the new non-human inventor, AI-based model. So that is one thing that we have to see. Especially in the copyright, a lot of creation happens. AI also writes a lot of things. So who is going to own those copyright? Whether the tools, the owner who has made the tools for the AI, or the AI per se, or somebody else. So that is how this the question revolves around. So we have to be very careful what we are using purely from AI source or pure your idea. So that has to be established. That is one. And then another thing is, if you are using any publicly available AI tool to use your software codes and all, so those things you may not be able to protect as per a patent claim.
All right. Based on your experience, what is one piece of advice you would give to early career scientists regarding IPR?
I would say that having your knowledge with IPR is very important, because you cannot totally depend on your IP attorney to decide what should be your claim. Whenever you are helping, taking the help of another attorney, you have to see what is your idea and what are the claims have been drafted. Whether it has been completely drafted, what is the research that you have done, what is the ideas that you came up with. Having knowledge of IPR is very important, crucial. And always try and see whenever your ideas the ideation stage, it has whether it has a patentable idea. If so, then look for a special guidance and file for at least provisional, then plan about your discussion, or like conference presentation, publication. That's something very important for all the early career scientists to think about.
Yes, ma'am, that is really good advice. And we have a few more questions. Shubho, if you have them with you right now, could you tell them?
Yes, I'm already pasted in the chat box, but let's start. One question is very general, and when someone start the research, they thought about it. That is, uh, Dayanidhi Sahu just asks, can 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 an improvement of an ancient invention patent मतलब
Understood.
कि
Understood. Understood.
those
It's
patent
interesting.
is removed and can he or she work on it and get once again the patent from that.
Yeah. Interesting question. So, ancient means maybe what I mentioned could be a traditional knowledge, already known technology. Now, when you do the improvement of that, that improvement should not be obvious to a person. What we say is called as person skilled in the art, like similar kind of research scientist in the similar kind of domain. Can that other person come out with that improvement easily? If so, yes, then that will not be patentable idea. But if that improvement, whatever you are planning to have, if that is having lot of research or ideation or some kind of validation to come out to that idea, and this is not obvious to somebody else, somebody else like some person skilled in the same person skilled in the art, similar kind of person, then yes, that can be patentable. But there is nothing yes or no answer for this. You have to see case by case.
Okay, ma'am. And mm, another question from Saurabh Ranjan Nanda. Can a machine used in other use in a different purpose the question, the meaning of the question is that if there is a machine which is used for another purpose, but now there is another applications, so can get the patent on that machine once again.
So that's what we discussed, repurposing, reusing a machine, already known machine, using for another purpose. We will
Not
not get a patent granted unless you have modified the machine with some different parts and all that. That will not
so
be
it
possible.
should be different, two different machine. It should look like a two different machine.
Either two different machine or you have modified the existing machine in such a way the
Hmm.
modification should not look obvious.
Okay. Hmm.
Then that can be patented.
Okay. And this is a question from a BSc student, I think. Can a student get a patent for, can a student patent an idea they developed as a part of the college project?
Hmm. So typically how it works is if you are working in an institute or in
Hmm.
a college, uh, and if it is part of the college project, if the idea been funded by the college, so typically the idea belongs to the college or institute,
Hmm.
unless otherwise there is no specific agreement that you have with the college, then probably that's a different scenario. But mostly when you do develop a project as a part of your research curriculum, and it is by the faculty has helped you or helped with the come out with a similar kind of project, and you have developed something, then typically it's the university or institute would be the applicant, the
Hmm.
rights. Unless otherwise, as a student, you have not taken any help from the institute. You have developed totally on your own. Um, Sometime patent office might ask you an NOC from the college, and then yeah, you could be the applicant for the patent.
Similar question, Mahasud asks that can both a person and an organization, he or she can get a patent?
Yes, one there are certain scenario where some of our client where even the scientist and the institute together they can be the co-applicant. That is also possible.
Okay. Generally, institute will be the applicant and scientist are the inventor. No?
Correct. That is
In,
correct. But certain scenario, if there
hmm,
is option by the institute,
hmm,
the if the inventor wanted to be the co-applicant,
hmm,
specific scenario that is possible. It's
hmm.
possible. Whether it will
It's
happen,
possible. Hmm,
whether institute would give the permission of that, that's a different question. But it is possible.
hmm. And BL Rathod asks that if our research involve traditional knowledge or local plant varieties, in such case, how to handle IPR and benefiting uh, sharing? Means you already give the answer, but then what is the way if they already did their research on traditional varieties and local plant, now what is their way to protect their research?
So, if it is a traditional variety, so it can be protected to Plant Variety Protection Acts. In those, and it's not through patent, it is a different system, as I mentioned. You have to apply that, because there also it is either it could be new variety or existing variety. So based on that, there's certain criteria. If you can satisfy, you get a plant variety protection.
Mm,
It's not a patent protection.
mm, yes. And obviously, students are now asking for NOCs mandatory or not. So already ma'am answered. And what happened I just discuss and elaborate this point of view for the student, because if it is a research, then it's obvious someone paying for it. It may be stakeholder money or maybe some others funded it. So when someone give you the right to for protect it, or right to maybe for market it, so they generally they ask you then how your research has been funded. So that is the thing that where you mention your institute or maybe your lab or maybe your funding agency or the college. So there is no way you can get the patent if you already get the patent, but they have the power to also give some filing, and there is a option to revoke your patent if they find that okay they are not mentioning in that way. So ma'am, that part revoking of the patent, if someone find that their research somehow somewhat taking or theft or copyright violation and they get the patent, then what is the way to challenge the patent?
So you can definitely write to the patent office saying that you are the true inventor for this idea,
Mm,
but it has been copied or theft by somebody, and he has got the patent. If you can satisfy the patent office that with the proof, it's
mm,
not a oral, you have a proof that you have shared this information with somebody and with the goodwill, and this has not been, or you have signed an NDA, but it has been filed by some other party, which who is not the true inventor. In those scenario, yes, definitely the patent can be revoked by the patent office. And another thing, when you said recently in one of our case, where the faculty has filed a patent, at that time there was no policy by the institute,
mm,
the way to file and all, and it is almost through ready for the grant. But then the controller asked they need a NOC from the institute, because considering the profile of the faculty, it looks like they understood that this is a faculty in an institute. They asked we need an NOC from the institute, or the institute should be the applicant for such invention. So unless that is done, the patent will not be granted. Sometimes the institute might object, or sometimes the institute, even if they don't object or they do not have a policy, it could be possible your patent controller might ask this clarification before the
mm.
patent is granted. So there's a clear laid out policies we have to follow.
And, so ma'am, when someone approach to your institute or means your company, then what is your procedures? You highlight all the possibility, or whether they should go for the patent or go for the copyright or go for that. So when someone as a customer share their research to you, then what is your company do that? Means how they handle it?
Okay. So when somebody comes with the idea, we try to understand what is that he wants to protect, and what is that output he's trying to get, that protection, IP protected, protection of this IP. Because if it is a patent protection, we start with the patentability search. We sign an NDA with the inventor, and then
Mm,
after that, they submit the disclosure form. Once we have the disclosure, then we do a patentability search. Based on the output of the search, if it is yes, it is novel, if it is inventive, then
mm,
we go for the patent filing process. Or sometimes they say, no, I'm not looking for patent, or maybe it is not patentable, but I want some other protection. So it could be a copyright, or if they want to protect the name of the company, name of the product, that could be a trademark protection. Or if they are come up with some device which
mm,
there is no functional feature they want to protect, so that could be design protection. So depending on the idea, depending on what is the output they are looking from this kind of project they have in hand, then we guide them based on that.
Hmm. Okay. And last questions, because it's came under the question and also my personal point of view, that how to search pre-existing patent, mean patent search, because it's not any curriculum like things. It's just you guys are master of it. But could you please give some suggestions on free software or how they
Yes.
can search so they can get some motivation that okay, it's not patented, so okay, go for the next level. So how we can do that?
Definitely. I would definitely recommend all the scientists, even before they approach a IP attorney, they should do initial search by them.
Hmm.
So that you know where you stand, then probably you might modify your disclosure before you even approach your attorney. So there
Hmm.
are a lot of free databases available. One is WIPO, World Intellectual Property Right, Organization, has a patent scope. You can go to patent scope, or you can go to Indian Patent Database, something called Free Patent Database, FPO, or there is a Google Patents. Now Google has tried to collect all this information. It is available in the Google Patents, and then you have US patent database, and then you have all the patent offices like European patent databases, Japanese patent, all these Singapore patents. So you can look at. So typically, if you look for like say WIPO, patent scope, free patent online, USPTO, India, European Union. These are the five, six major patent databases. If you see, you will get a good idea. But to be sure about that there is no 100% it is novel and inventive. So probably you might need a professional help before that, but you can do this preliminary search with your no, because you are the inventor. Understand, you are the inventor. You have all the knowledge and expertise to understand your invention better. So preliminary search, you could do it, then you can take it forward.
Okay. Thanks, ma'am. Now we can end our session. But before going to end, I have two questions, which may be a little bit personal for your journey. That sometimes law is very challenging subject. Means people are sometimes avoiding it, or sometimes they accept him in their LLB and that level. But yes, patenting is a very important and very found. It's not actually the criminal law type of things, but it has essence of everything. Means all law is come under the patent law. It can be. So how you going to that directions? Means do you find there is a market scope, or do you think that is a very good subject to handle and it challenge your intellect sometimes, so you fascinated about it?
Yeah, I mean, if I can tell a little bit about my journey after my PhD from Indian Institute of Science, I was working with Novozymes as a
Okay.
world number one enzyme
Mm.
production company, Dennis Biotech. I was the one who set up that India R&D. So, and the process of setting up the India R&D, after setting up the lab, I had to go to Copenhagen to get the first project. So when I was in Copenhagen, so that time I got exposed to how these multinational companies take so much importance to IP. Whatever research they do, how they see how they can maximize the IP protection. So I got interested in patent law, all those exposure, because I had inclination for law even before starting my journey with IASC. So, and patent is something, a field like you have the conflict, so you have to be strong in technology. Otherwise, you can't defend your patent or technology that for your clients. And you have to understand in-depth knowledge. And also, it is an evolving field. Like it is not a static. Every now and then, all the rules changes. India, multinational country, other everywhere the rules. So you have to keep reading, keep updating, and the technology also changes. You have to understand, like how you said AI is so important. So this is something very interesting that I wanted to be do, and be doing these kind of different projects, working on different kind of IPR. So that's what took me interest having a technology, law, and management. How do you manage when you have multiple country and it is a cost, it's quite expensive to maintain patent. How do you dive through this different scenario? How do you help your client? So
Mm.
it's a very interesting journey, and we are very happy because in this field, if you are in IPR, you might have to work in a day for totally 4 to 5 different projects. Totally, maybe software, maybe IPR, maybe medical, maybe agri-tech. So this is something very interesting to work with. So having
Good.
a science background, it definitely helps when you navigate through patent landscape.
Oh, now, ma'am, we are going to close our
Yeah.
session, and it's a great learning, and its recording is available, so anybody can go through once and again because it's a lots of informations, and we love to have you in this platform, and mm, uh, maybe in future we also stay connected because as for my experience, I'm previously in a university system where the patent is very limited, and we not so encourage also for the patent and all. But now in an institute, so there is a high scope and everyone asking for that. So as a researcher, uh, we are mainly focusing on publishing it, but now I understand that before publishing it, you can just apply for a patent. So you have some you have both option, publications and also, and yes, people are thinking that publications uh, publication take long a shorter time than the patent, but sometime we can hold the publication also. Means there is a revision, there's a part of revisions, and there is a option that you can hold your publication in the process if you think that patenting application is take times. But generally 2 3 weeks is enough for starting filing a patent. So yes, I encourage others researcher also that how I am thinking right to these days. You may also think in that way that go for the patent if it is a possible. But yes, we are working on plants, so very difficult to get a patent on plant. But yes, process patent can be done.
Formulation patents, process patent that you can file.
Yes, yes. So that is uh, my one message I can give you guys, all the viewers, that you can think your research such a way that it can be patented, or it can be valuable asset for your future also. So, ma'am, it's a pleasure, what I can say. I know your talk and all, but it's a pleasure, and thanks for coming and give us such a long time. Soma, say bye to ma'am, and
Thank you so
we'll
much,
make
ma'am.
our.
We hope to stay connected, and we have hope to spread this awareness and this knowledge to all the future scientists. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much to Dr. Majumdar and Dr. Soma and your Bioengine platform, and wishing all the best to your viewers uh, to learn about more about IP. And definitely, it's a pleasure to be on this platform. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye bye bye.
Thanks, ma'am. So we are going to end our session right now, and I'm just going to give the link for the feedback and all. And in the future, we'll meet again, ma'am, and
Sure. Yeah.
this
Okay.
is another thing.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye
Okay,
bye.
bye.